Hey guys, in this Figma tutorial we're going to create these two UI landing pages from scratch, and by the end of the tutorial you're going to learn all sorts of different workflows, tips and techniques that are going to help you design in Figma. Also want to remind you that I recently launched a Figma course, so if you're interested in learning Figma from scratch, feel free to check it out in the link in the description. But now, without further ado, let's jump into the video. So let's begin by creating a frame, and we're going to select desktop, and we're going to select the very first one, which is 14 by 40, which is usually a very good place to start when it comes to creating a desktop app. The first thing that we're going to do right after is we're going to create the logo, which we're just going to make up a logo right here. Let's make it smaller. We're going to use Montserrat for this specific design, since it's quite a friendly font and just fits well with this theme overall. So we're going to add it over here, and we're also going to use nucleo icons, which is opening right here. We're going to select a element which suggests the theme for the font. So maybe you can go with something around these lines, or maybe just the world. So let's add it right here, and this is going to basically give a touch of life to the actual logo. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to create the main menu. So we're going to write about. We're obviously going to tone it down a little bit in size, since we wanted to basically make it fit well overall. So we're going to select medium, and we're going to duplicate this a few times. So we have a few options. So the very first one is, so the very second one is going to be services. Then we're going to have pricing. Then we're going to have sign in, and we're going to add the get started. All right, so far so good. Now what we want to add in the very last spot, in order to give it special emphasis, is we want to make it completely rounded. And let's make also the sign in go next to it, and we want to add some color. So let's go ahead here, let's ungroup this, and let's add some color to this element, which is going to depend heavily on the illustration which we're going to use, which is an illustration from a pack, an illustration pack from Impro Studio, which you can find on UI8. It's a really cool illustration pack, and I'm going to leave the link in the description if you want to check it out. And yeah, without further ado, let's grab it. I used the PNG version of this, and this is going to serve us as the main illustration for this landing page. So let's keep it right here. Let's maybe add a little bit of spacing at the bottom, and that overall looks good. We're going to refine it, of course, but for the time being, I think we're off for a good start. All right, so let's go ahead and let's play around with some colors. We're going to use the same tint as one of the colors in this illustration. And the same is true for the logo. And so far, so good. All right. Now, the very next thing that we're gonna do, by the way, I'm not really feeling the logo, so we're just going to go with a minimal, or actually the icon. So we're going to go with a minimal approach to this. And also another thing that we want to do, is apart from changing the name of the artboard, is we're going to add a layout grid, which is going to be comprised of 12 columns. We're going to add a bit of a margin so that we can basically keep everything on track when it comes to the layout. All right, so far so good. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And we're also going to change the layout color in order to make it less visible, a little bit more subtle overall. And yeah, so far so good. Now let's add the 2 arrows right here on this menu items. So we're going to add them here. First one's going to be for services, and we're going to essentially make this lighter. And the second one is going to be for the about section, making sure that the distance between one and the other is the same. Let's group this together. Let's select all of these, distribute horizontally in order to make sure that the distance between one another is the same. Let's center it all together. All right, so far so good. Now what we want at this stage is actually, let's make these just 1 point smaller. Yeah, I think that's looking good. And what we want to do now at this stage is to actually add a headline at the top. This one's going to be join our SaaS revolution. We're going to make it quite big, since it's going to be the H1 of the website, and want to give it special emphasis. Let's go ahead here. Let's bring this one down. We're going to add some text. So let's copy with Command Alt and C the style. We're going to add some text here. Join our new SaaS software, which is going to allow you to learn at great speed. I'm just making this up, so there isn't really a logic behind it, so just bear with me on this. Of course, you can change this to whatever you want. All right, let's make it just a little bit darker. So we want to still maintain the legibility clear, and let's make this a little bit less bold. Or actually, let's try and go with light. Yep, that looks good. So, all right, let's duplicate the button, and what we're gonna do is we're going to have 2 buttons right here. The first one is going to be play video, and the second one is going to be start your 14-day trial. Maybe let's remove the dash. We're going to have an arrow over here. So we need 2 icons. The first one is going to be a video icon. The second one is going to be the arrow. Well, the arrow, I think we can just grab one of these for the time being, and we're going to add it right here. So just a subtle arrow helps to basically make it more clear and make the call to action more interesting. It just adds a little bit of a touch to this whole composition. Now the second thing that we want to do is to add a video icon, and the video icon, let's have a look around. Maybe a play icon, that would be best. So I'm just going to grab this icon, and I'm going to deep select this element. Oops. Here we go. And I'm going to remove all. I'm going to copy just that one. Okay, it's not working. Let me do the old-fashioned way, which is searching for a play icon in the first place. Sure, we could have pulled it off, but or actually this one is looking even better, so I'm glad we went through that. And let's make it smaller. Let's bring it over here. Let's make it white. And at this stage we can I think we're pretty set when it comes to the iconography in this. And I'm going to change the color of this to blue and make this blue 10% opacity, and I think we'll do. Or maybe we can simply consider adding a stroke. Let's do 1.5. Let's remove the fill, and I think I like that better. Let's also group this. Let's group both of them together. Let's center them, and yeah, overall I think we are in a good position now. At this stage, one more thing that I definitely want to do is to, well, first of all, I'm probably going to make the illustration just a touch bigger, but I definitely want to add some sort of gradient or some sort of background in order to make this look a little bit less empty, less minimal, I guess. It's not a bad thing, but I would just like to have some more visual interest spiked over here. So let's bring this one at the very bottom. Let's use a linear. Let's swap the linears. There we go. And let's try to add, for example, this color, or this one right here. Okay, this one should be white, of course. Let's try and make it very subtle. So maybe something around these lines. It's time for experimenting a bit, and as you can see, the chat is outside the artboard, so let's put it in. I also want to make the background lighter so that it doesn't really interfere all that much with our decision-making process. And let's go ahead here. Let's change this one. Maybe something more towards these lines. Or actually this, I think, is going to work the best. Alright, so far so good. I'm going to try also another version of this, which is going to essentially be with orange buttons. And I think this is also looking pretty interesting. I think this one blends a little bit more with the background and the overall design, but still quite a good approach. So yeah, here we go.